Now, to move a little further along, the Federal Reserve Act came in 1913, and we had gold, and we had the Great Depression. People were out of work. I think there were, in 1933, there were 14 million people who were out of work, unemployed. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt was our president. And so, to help the United States out of the Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt picked up all the gold. And on April the 20th, 1933, I think it was, the President of the United States put out an order that all gold that was not collectible had to be turned into the U.S. government. And if you were found that you owned gold, you could have a $10,000 fine and you would spend 10 years in jail. Now that's pretty interesting. I'm going to spend 10 years in jail because I own gold? What was that about? This is what it was about. Gold was priced at $20.67. That's what the government had pegged it at. Once all of the gold came in, so Roosevelt was limited in the amount of money that he could print based upon the amount of gold that we had in Fort Knox, or actually in the Federal Reserve System. So once Roosevelt picked up the gold, what he did was interesting. He took the price of gold from $20.67 to $35 overnight. So what did that mean? Well, that meant that he could print millions of more dollars, because with the price of gold being $35 from $20.67, that created a huge amount of money that he could print. That's when we started the Social Security system. And many of the other systems that Roosevelt started using the money to try and pull us out of the Depression. And so we, citizens of the United States, could not own gold until President Reagan, I think it was about 60 years later, President Reagan gave us the right to own gold for the first time in 60 years. So now what we had was the ability to own gold. And then the reason that Roosevelt, one of the reasons Roosevelt picked up the gold is because it used to be that if you had $1, you could go into the bank and you could get the gold. And so once Roosevelt was elected, he had a 4-day bank holiday. He closed all the banks in the United States. And as he closed the banks, then people couldn't get the reason he closed the banks is because they were having a run on the banks. They didn't trust the American dollar all of a sudden. They wanted the gold rather than the American dollar. So he closed all the banks. Could that be done today? Anything can be done today. The reason I'm giving this small introduction to money is to get people to try to understand what money represents and how it came about and how does it hold value. Remember, it held value when it was tradable for gold or silver. Okay? Moving fastly along, we came to President Nixon in 1971. In September of 1971, Richard Nixon took it upon himself to change the monetary system of the United States. Why did he do that? Government wanted more control. They could not print money because there wasn't enough gold. And so the easiest way to allow for the printing of money is to disembark from gold and silver and just print paper. There was a big change. What was the paper worth? What is the paper dollar that we have today? What is it worth? Basically, it's worth nothing. It's worth the belief that you as an American citizen or people in the world have, because the value of the dollar seems to represent the United States. But the truth is, it essentially has no backing whatsoever, except that it's a promise to pay from the federal government. And the problem with the federal government, they've printed so much money now, it's impossible to ever pay the debt that we owe. And so, as we move into this new era, you're starting to see new things like cryptocurrencies, gold and silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and these type of so-called coins. And we can go into that as in a later video, but this is just to give you an instructions so that you have some idea, again, where is money, where did it come from, what does it mean, how was it valued, and in our next video we'll go into the new era of money. Thank you for listening.